Welcome to this raw PHP tutorial. Before we start customizing things, I want you to understand something about the routing of raw PHP, root or route depending on how you pronounce it. So if you want to understand raw PHP, you should start from the route, you understand. So first of all, when your application is visited, this htaccess file, your application starts running from the public folder from this htaccess file, then it accesses this index.php. That's when your application starts, and then every other thing you're doing in your application has to pass through the routes file. So if we open the routes file, as you can see, it's inside the routes folder. We'll see that there are certain routes that have been defined by default to help your application run perfectly. So the first one is a GET request that comes to the default page, and it takes to home controller index home. So I'll explain how this works. So somebody visits your website.com. For here, what it is localhost colon 8000. This route is simply saying if somebody visits this, the logic that will control or determine what the person will see is inside the home controller. So we should go to app, go to controllers, go to home controller, and inside the route file is also determined that the method inside the home controller that we're looking for is the index. So we go to our navigation, our home controller, index. This is the method in home controller that we're working with, and what the method simply says is that it should render a view called home.twig. So the view, all our views are inside the folder. If you check your raw PHP folder, this is the folder structure, and you click on resources, then you click on views. This is where all our views are. So what this is basically saying is that just go to the views folder and check for home.twig. So here is home.twig. Alright, if you're used to home.html and .php sites, this is basically a PHP app that has a front-end templating engine called Twig. So you can basically write PHP here and HTML together. Alright, so this is the home page. This is the file that displays what we're saying here. For instance, you have awesome features. If we do Control F to find awesome features, you see that this is where it is. Awesome features is actually in this. So if we wanted to delete, we can just delete this and refresh. This guy should be gone, this box here. So if we reload, as you can see, it's gone. So there are now two left, and then the rest of the content moved to the left. So that's to tell you that if we customize this page, we'll be customizing our home page. Alright, the next thing we need to check out is back to the routes file. If we close the resources and click on the routes. So what this does is the next one is if somebody visits /about, what should the person see? So if we go to our home and say /about, as you can see, there's a default about page for us. So raw PHP has done some settings, route settings, for you to sort out your problem. The next one is, as you can see, there are many routes here. Then there is one called auth middleware. Routes can be grouped together, as you can see. This is a group, and then protected with a certain function or method or class. For this one is raw auth middleware. All the routes that are inside this group cannot be accessed unless the user is logged in. And then there's a guest middleware that people can access when they are not logged in. Then there are different types of requests. As you can see, these ones are GET. These ones, somebody can just click on a link on your page and then open this one. Somebody can just visit the link on the browser. The way we're doing is all GET requests. But then post request is, for instance, when somebody wants to submit a form. This is a sign up form. If somebody decides to click on submit, this form will be submitted via post request. So this is a sign up form. Let us look at the route, for instance. A good way to know the route that handles a page is to look at this. So this is in auth sign up. So we'll go to our routes page, and we're looking for something that deals with auth sign up. As you can see, /auth/sign up. This is the route that handles the display of the sign up page. As you can see, it's a GET request. So when somebody visits this via GET request, it should go to auth controller and handle what is in GET sign up. You understand? So if we go to auth controller in app, go to controllers, go to auth controller, we'll see GET sign up. We're looking for a method that is called GET sign up. So what GET sign up does is just display the page. It just renders the view as we saw, and the view is inside an auth folder. If we go to our resources, and we see an auth folder, and inside an auth folder we're looking for a signup.twig. This signup.twig, that is the file that contains this form. Alright, so if we check this file and look for the form, this is just bootstrap code, and look for the form, look at the form action. It's saying auth.signup, and then the method is post. So if we go back to our route file, it's saying that if the method is post, it should, the method in the auth controller that should handle it is post signup. So if we go back to our auth controller and we look for post signup, look at the method we're looking for. What post signup does is, first of all, it validates the input that is being submitted, and if the validation fails, it redirects to the same page, as you can see, to auth signup. But if the validation passes, it should create the user account, because the person is signing up. It should sign up the user, and while signing up the user, it should encrypt the password. As you can see, after encrypting the password, you should just send a message to the user saying the sign up was successful, and then it should log the person in. So it attempts to log the person in. If the login was successful, then it redirects to home. So don't worry about if these codes are confusing. You just need to understand the general workflow, but as you type it out yourself, as you walk through it, it will be easy for you. I just use it to explain the route file that you can have GET, you can have POST. There are so many request types, HTTP requests. There is PUT, there is patch, there is delete, and so on. But most of the things we'll be using in this course is just GET and POST, and they pretty much solves all your problem. Then the third type of request that we need to cover quickly is the map. Alright, sometimes you just want to use the same method in your controller to handle both GET and POST. If you're observant about GET requests, they just render the page. If we get back to our code here and see GET request, all it just does is render the page. So instead of wasting a full method on it, it could be okay for us to just combine it. You understand? So inside here we can just check whether it's GET or POST. So a good way to do that is to use map. Map simply maps the methods you specify, which is GET or POST. In raw PHP, you can just put any means any request that is coming in, it should be mapped to this. So in sign-in, for instance, we are mapping GET and POST into the same function that we call sign-in. Alright, so when the user signs in, if we go to the auth controller /sign-in auth controller, we're looking for the sign-in method. So this is the sign-in method. It combines the GET and POST. So it is basically checking if the request is POST, then sign the user in. If the request is not POST, of course, all you have to do is display the user page. So this is how the routes work in raw PHP, and it is very powerful. Now, if you're building an API microservice platform that you don't need to return view, you just need to return JSON. This is where you just return JSON instead of a view. You understand? So thank you very much. See you in the next video where we actually start coding.